Hello everyone and welcome back to Ranting Into the Void, the series where I rant into the never-ending void that is the internet. And today we'll be doing a reverse of last time's video. And if you don't remember what that is, it was me talking about my least favorite writing trope. So the clear opposite to that would be my absolute favorite writing trope. Now it's a writing trope I like a lot. Maybe due in part because I don't see it very often. Or maybe because I just like it that much, who knows. I do like a lot of slice of life, but this trope is pretty much... I can't really describe it in one word like I could last time. The trope is when the main guy and the main girl of the series start dating from the beginning, and they go through the series together, as opposed to, you know, building up to them getting together at the very last scene and having just a small bit of, you know, just reward for that, I guess. Now, why do I like this trope? If you remember the last time's video, the reason I liked Amnesia, the reason I disliked Amnesia, is because it was used to completely get rid of something that had been worked towards for a really long time, making you feel like your time was wasted. This does the exact opposite of that. This gets, you know, right into it. Because the thing with a lot of romance series, or series that just have romance as a subplot, is that they just build up the entire series towards, you know, what we all expect is going to happen. The main guy is going to fall in love with the main girl, or the main girl is going to fall in love with the main guy, vice versa. And that's nice every now and then, but it's just the same thing over and over again, and you know that they're not going to get together, so that just doesn't make it as enjoyable to watch, I guess. Because you know that they're going to end up together, but they're both so dense that they just don't end up together, and they're denser than stars, and they don't realize that the other person feels the way that they do. Which I guess, okay, yeah, it can replicate how a lot of people feel in real life. That, you know, you can go through all these adventures, and then at the very end, that's like the big payoff, right? Is to see that these two people who you've seen throughout this entire journey grow finally come together. And I can understand why it's such a popular trope and why it's used the way it is, but it's not my favorite. The reason I like the characters getting together early on is because it shows a completely different angle to how they would tackle certain situations now that they have someone that they care for more as a friend, you know? Or more than a friend, I should say. So instead of having that really big payoff at the end of the series, with the really big, really obvious payoff at the end of the series, you have that payoff super early, and then you build up to something else, allowing people to focus more on the main story and focus less on the subplots that are surrounding it. And I have some personal experiences where romance was handled in a way that I didn't like, in shows obviously. And, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not work out. I'll talk mainly about the good as opposed to the bad, because there's a couple of main shows that I wanted to talk about that don't get enough love, honestly. The shows I'm going to mention, you should probably check them out, they're both really good. Well, there's 4 shows I can think of that use this trope in total, but, yeah. So the first show I'll be talking about is Chivalry of a Failed Knight. That sounds pretty weeby, and in all honesty it is, but it's a very good show. Okay, maybe it's not very good, but... okay, I say that, but it's definitely... Think of it as above average, but just below being a great show, if that makes sense. Now, Chivalry of a Failed Knight, it takes place in like a weird futuristic-esque world that's not very much futuristic, but kind of is. And it's your basic battle shonen manga, but the main difference is the main character starts dating the main girl very early on, and they go through like the whole series together pretty much. And with that series of ups and downs that comes with being in a relationship. And I feel that they handle it very well, in that they show that immediately the first episode after the guy and the girl get together, that they don't know what they're doing. And 90% of the time in real relationships, you don't know what you're doing, and they showed that very well. And it's an angle that I don't think is shown very often because of the whole happily ever after trope. That, okay, main plot's over, guy and girl together, they never have any arguments ever, and they're happy together forever. That's just not the case. Sometimes, you know, there's fights. Things happen. People mess up. That happens in relationships. And so showing that angle in a battle shonen is just, it's a very interesting way that they show the perspective on that. Because it could have been very easy to just have the guy confess to the girl at the end and call it a day. In all honesty, that's what I was expecting. But they didn't do that. What they did instead was, the girl was very obvious at showing her feelings, and the guy just accepted that. And he was like, you know, I like you too. And they went through the series together doing that. So the main guy wasn't denser than a neuron star, and the main girl was, you know, like most main girls, except she ended up with the main guy. And as they go through the series together, and they grow, both of them grow as characters, and they grow closer, of course, showing that angle is something I've never seen explored, especially in a battle setting, where when one of them is fighting, the other is watching from the sidelines and like cheering them on and worrying for them. It's like you always see that perspective when it's somebody who, you know, may have a crush on the main character, but when it's somebody who's in a relationship with them, that completely flips on its head. And I just feel it was handled very well in that show. The next show I'll be talking about is called Ore Monogatari. I remembered the name. Ha! The show follows a big lad and a small lady. Okay, that's a very poor way of describing it, but it's a lot more slice of life than Chivalry of a Failed Knight. It's very how you would imagine a relationship would take place in anime. Lots of misunderstandings and all stuff like that, but the characters get together very early on, and it shows a romance anime from the perspective of a couple, as opposed to a perspective that we've seen a million times, which is, you know, not so good looking guy likes pretty girl, what will they endure together type thing. Maybe endure together was not the right word, but you get what I mean. So the way that works is, it just, if like, this is what would be the generic if this was a normally used trope. If the trope of, you know, people getting together early on in the series was the thing, this would be considered the generic, because this is, you know, them going through all the ups and downs you expect in a relationship. Oh, what are they doing, you know, when they're not with me? Oh, girl finds very pretty boy. What acts will they get up to? You know, things of that manner. And things like that are very generic when you think of just relationships in general, because those are just standard things that are a part of it. But when you think of it in the setting of an anime, how often are these things really looked at? How often would you see, you know, Hinata from Naruto hang out with another guy, and Naruto being like, Naruto, you know, feeling a small bit insecure. Well, admittedly, it wouldn't have fit Naruto at all in the series, but think of like the most generic harem romance anime that you can think of. This would be that if this was the norm. If this was the norm, it would be generic, but thing is, it's not, so it feels so refreshing, and it's a lot more fun to watch than it should be. Just because it uses things that have not been used a million times before, despite it feeling like it would be generic had it been literally anything else. And I think maybe it's just me who feels that way, maybe the show's not generic at all, who knows. But maybe, you know, if it was used more often, the show wouldn't be my favorite things just because of how everything was utilized. Be sure to leave a comment if you agree, disagree, or, you know, have some own opinion of your own that has nothing to do with this video at all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I really appreciate you guys sticking through to the end of the video. It means a lot to me, truly it does. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and good luck. Bye-bye.